if you were here on Monday, I was talking about the longitudinal aspects or areas in yoga theory of the center of the spine, the two paraspinal channels in the sides of the spine, and we work with those two sides, those longitudes. But we think in terms of latitudes, we have some interesting places to work, primarily around the pelvic girdle where the hip capsules come in, the legs come in, and of course, on the upper part of the torso, the shoulder girdle. We have a lot of girdles, which maintain and help move and anchor the arms, the shoulders, and the chest. So these are the two areas I thought would be fruitful for our morning yoga enterprise. So without further ado, let's sit for a bit, for a couple of breaths in a comfortable way. And you can do the necessary as usual. Sit on some blankets, towels, prop your knees up. Even sitting in a chair on the front of the chair is fine. As you close your eyes, just start to come into your breath and descend, as we did on Monday. The inhales downward into what I like to think of as the well, the deep well of the body, into that pelvic, we'll call it basin. It's a little more savory word. It is kind of a cradle or a basin. And checking in with the organ body, the digestive system, the diaphragm coming in and out on inhale and exhale. And as you become aware of that area, in the lower part of the torso, the low back included, releasing any tension you find so that you can now have more sensitivity to the effects of gravity, which may be contrary to what your instinct is. So if you were to squeeze all the muscles for a moment in your core and around your hips and pelvis, see if you can identify and squeeze them and then release them. And so you can feel like you're actually pressing, pulling the knees together isometrically, hips, and then release. Just try it a few times. So in a way, this is engaging the core and squeezing the whole area, protecting the hips and the pelvis. You could also do it, open your eyes by lifting your knees and squeezing into a ball, engaging your abdomen, and then release. Try it a few times. You can cross your legs, of course, and this enterprise of squeezing in is how you can take Navasana. But then you've got to be able to release those same muscle groups in this area around the hips. And take a few breaths after you've energized to deactivate, de-energize. And then you have sensitivity to gravity and connection to the surface you're on, which in this case is the floor. Again, we're going to squeeze. You can do that on inhale. You can even do a strength move if you're wide awake. And release. And then you really have to, it's almost like I take my hands from my diaphragm down to my outer hips and just iron the bed sheet because this gets tense. One more time. Squeeze, engage the core. And again, this is the root, this area, where I could go into things like a radical
form that like that, like a bobsledder.
Then let it go. Descend. Drop your coils, so to speak. Give it a shake. And so if you were to go around with this six-pack of core or locked hips all day long, and you see people who their bodies have gotten locked in this area, think of the repercussions of this tension in the digestive system and the nervous system. So having the strength in this area, having this awareness, even through this simple exercise, wonderful, wonderful, and we're going to do some more. But we have to be able to balance that with the release. No strength, total release, I just fall into a big pile and injure my low back. Okay, so that's now we've set the lower part of the body. Let's take a rotation to the right, hooking our left fingers on our right knee. And keep the descending lower half of the body as you inhale down into that pelvic basin. But at the same time, the chest is moving the other direction. So this is a little review of the longitudinal downward and upward expanding qualities of the body. Take a few breaths. You can even close your eyes. So you're descending through the pelvis, you're lifting through the shoulders, or through the chest. But now you should be becoming aware of the area around the chest, the mid-back, shoulder girdle as it gets rotated, and let's rotate to the other side, while keeping the strength and the descent of the hips to feet. The outer hips are in synchronicity and evenness with each other. And then the mid-back is really the rotator. We're going to be working with that. Is twisting, and also you're feeling that expansion of the chest. And let's try the first side again. Inhale, I drop the hips, lift the chest, stretching the rubber band of the spine. And then let the upper chest feel slight resistance as you tug on the knee and bend the elbows. So you're creating the isometric work even here. And then to the other side. So any sorts of rotations have to be guarded, or the hips have to be guarded in the low back and protected, which is why I always start with fortifying the low back. One more thing though, let's take the hands together, and as we exhale, round the spine, pull the fingers apart, creating a big circle of the arms, elbows apart, big ring of those protracted, expanding shoulder blades. Inhale, bring the fingers toward the chest, lift the chest toward the fingers, and exhale, launch the arms and breathe. This is called Pada Hastasana, bound arms. So binding the arms makes them root. You can root the shoulder blades down and tie them into this upper turret, so to speak. Let's try it again. Come down, bring the interlace fingers to the heart, and you're looking at your palms now as you roll back, a little bit of a rounded pattern. Inhale, pull the fingers against one another, draw the shoulder blade tips together. So a little more awareness of what the bound hands can do to the shoulder girdle, and then having connected the tips of the shoulder blades, up you go. Extra-petic, and you lean a little bit to your right. Keeping your hips planted. Inhale to center, and wobble a little bit over to the other side. And you rotate to the right. Inhale to center and rotate. So now you can, as you release, you can see how are things going in those shoulders. And it's your morning body, so don't despair if things are not perfect. Let's just do a little back work with the towel rolls, and we're going to touch those two areas of the hips and the shoulders. Simple stuff as usual. Take our towel roll and lay down. Lift the hips and take it right under the sacrum, and then pull the knees into the body. Give them a squeeze, the knees can be wide. So once again, we're curling up into a ball, and we're, in a sense, in a more passive way, connecting, fortifying, integrating the lower part of the torso. The low back is getting a nice, hopefully a nice release as you press into your towel roll. And then go ahead and gently, you can keep holding the tops of the hamstrings so as not to injure yourself. Let the feet fall down to set up for bridge. Still with the support of the towel roll, open the palms to the sky. Inhale, start to spread open those shoulders. And exhale, lift the hips off the ground. Moving the hips forward, keeping the tailbone slightly rounded or curled in its natural curl toward the knees, toward the sky. And now you've got this strength in the hips, right? You should be able to even touch your outer hips. They're strong, and they are allowing then the heart and the chest area to open. Exhale, come down, pull the knees, and give a squeeze. Take a few breaths. Okay, let's try it again. We can, again, guide the feet to the ground. The sacrum is still on the towel roll. Open the arms. Hands are about a foot from the hips. Inhale, roll the shoulders open. Same time, if you're skillful, you can be moving, already thinking of pressing the hips forward, away from you toward the heels and lifting them up. So we've got the longitude of the tailbone moving away and the chest moving toward your head. And then the two latitudes, the outer hips are strong and the shoulder girdle is strong because it's pressing, upper tips of the shoulder blades pressing to the mat, the back of the head presses into the mat a little bit, and then exhale, come down. And just hug and release the low back. So this is a little bit of work to wake up that Samana Vayu, as it's called. And same thing, I'm going to drape the arms. Inhale, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, slight engagement of pelvic floor. And tighten up the space between the frontal ribs and the frontal hips. So the frontal ribs aren't poking out so much, which is my tendency. And then when I get a little more into it, I can pretend I'm Ed Sullivan because the chest is moving toward the relaxed chin. And jaw Narabandha. Exhale, release, pull the knees in. So let's drop the right foot down, hold the left knee. And if you can, slide the right leg along the ground and just start to glide the knee you're holding toward you anyway. Inhale and exhale. Starting to energize that right leg if it's extended along the floor. Flexing the toes back toward you, spreading the toes, and then little circles with that left knee you're holding, one direction, the other, just to feel any peculiarities in the left pelvic half. And then let's hold that left knee. With the left hand, reach the right arm up to the sky. Inhale. If you're going to shake hands with the cloud, and then reach back to the ground.
I'm a little bit near the wall, so I'm just going to push into it. And then fully energized in the right arm and the right leg, the longitude. And then here we go with latitude. So we're going to open the left knee, which we've done many times. Begin to open up the inside of the left inner groin. But we want to pay attention to the belly, the low back, and that it's not getting out of too far off of its ability to be in symmetry. Okay? Pull the knee back, give it a squeeze, bring the right knee into the mix so you have both knees, and switch. Now we're holding the right knee with both hands, the left foot goes down, and if you can, slide the left leg long, pull the toes back toward you, and inhale, right knee toward right shoulder, exhale, move away. And if you're subtle, as you begin to push and pull the knee, see if you can do less with your arms and let the leg and the subtle muscles around the hip, the core, help move the knee. And then circle both directions. Get any kinks out. Then hold the right knee with the right hand, left arm up to sky like you're shaking hands with a flat backstroke. Left arm to the floor beyond you. I've got the wall. I'm going to push into it. I'm going to push through the left heel. That's my inhale and exhale. Once I've established that strength, the right knee goes out toward the floor, but not past the point where the pelvic girdle loses the pelvic halves lose their ability to communicate with each other. And then bring the knee back to center, drag that left heel back toward you, hold both knees, and release the feet down to the ground. So one more bridge, but take a peek if you can at your screen, and I'm going to take my arms up to the sky like I've got a big ball in my hands. Inhale here. Just exhale, start to roll left. Inhale to center and just roll. So we've locked the hips onto the towel, and now we can have this awareness of the shoulder girdle, the chest, working with parallel arms. We can start to circularize as I ram into my wind chime. Circularize the whole structure of the shoulder girdle as I take my ball as if I were at the gym and just round and let the head roll, keeping the jaw relaxed. So now I'm just becoming aware of the mobility and strength of the upper rib cage. So now take your arms and bend the elbows down to the floor. So the upper arm bones are straight out from the shoulders. And as we push the elbows into the floor, the triceps are going to retract a little bit. It's going to open the palate of the chest. Then we tuck the tailbone a little bit toward the sky and lift the hips and do a weird bridge pose. Finding strength in the core as if you're squeezing the ball between your inner thighs. Letting the chest rise toward the relaxed chin. Pushing, pushing, pushing with the elbows, and then come down. Okay? And then take the arms straight out to the floor and drop the knees to the left. And inhale to center and drop the knees right. You can let the head roll independently or in contrast to the legs. Start to push through that upper knee as we do to stretch our psoas. And we can integrate the lower body, the hip structure, and the arm structure by starting to play with connecting the dots. When the knees go to the left, the right knee pushes, the right arm comes up and moves overhead on a diagonal. I can grab the right wrist. I got right shoulder, right hip getting a little connection through the ribs. And then let's go to the other side. The knees drop right The left knee pushes enough away. The left hip rises. The left arm comes up and over to the right. Maybe even grab that left wrist, stretch on the diagonal overhead, and release. And some people like to do these little rolly, rounding arm motions that I'm doing, like a backstroker. But today I want you to think more like a speed skater. Very good, and then come off the towel by lifting the hips enough to get it away, and take the towel roll into your hands, reach it back to the floor, beyond you, inhale, and then up toward the knees, exhale. Inhale back, and exhale forward. So if you want extra credit, and as the towel roll comes forward with the head, even the chin tucked. Now we're starting to work the core, but also this rim around the shoulder blades and the chest. And let's let the legs go long and do just a little more core activation. Inhale, lengthen the entire body. The legs and the arms. Exhale, let the towel come up toward the sky. The right knee comes toward to touch it. Inhale, reach back. Exhale, left knee touches the reaching towel. You've done this before, so you know you can lift your head. If you have the strength underneath the chin, the scaling muscles, to act like a swan's neck. Very good. And then let's just roll off to the side for a second. And take our towels right under our shoulder blades, or towel rolls, and just open up the chest for a moment. Taking the towel roll to the tips of the shoulder blades, support your head for a moment, like a little hammock. So take a peek, and I'm just hovering here. Hovering here with bent knees, and I'm just letting the weight of the head be held in the hands. I'm trying not to put the head or the neck in a compromised position, so get your thumbs right under the base of the bony ridge in the back of the skull. You know, the chin somewhat tucked, so you're lengthening, if anything, the back of the spine. Make sure you get those shoulder blade tips right in there. So this is a good way to open up the chest. You can also eventually lay the head down, let the arms come out, and maybe slide the legs long. Extra credit, you can goal post your arms at right angles. So again, just breathe into the awareness of the area around the chest, shoulder blades, since we're going to be working here. And if your legs are extended, make sure that your legs are firmly engaged, as if you're hugging a ball between the inner knees. And so that this support system in the hips, which we call core, is the anchor from which we can launch extension in the upper body and the shoulders. Hopefully that makes sense. You can even take your hands to your frontal hip bones and think of sliding them away as you roll the shoulders in the opposite direction. So that's the balance. That's the balance of these two portions that I'm calling latitudes, with the overall quest of getting more longitude in the body. So let's come up and let's put this into play a little bit with our straps. Now we're going to take our strap, and if you don't have a strap, you could even grab some sort of a belt that's not being used these days because we're not going to public events as much, needing to be
the fashion kings and queens that we normally are, we can just rough it a little bit. And it is the summertime. We're slumming it a bit. So we're going to take our straps around, it's Wednesday, I'm just getting warmed up, our hips here. And so here's this area that supports the hips. And if you were born at a certain period of time, actually at different times in our American cultural history, something called hip hugger pants, or even like dropping your pants. I know none of you did this in high school, but in my high school, even the music teacher thought he would try to mimic the students, which was of moderate success. So showing the side view, I'm right at the head of the upper leg bone, and I'm right in the area of the sitting bone. So it's really, as I sit down now, you'll know if it's tight enough in the right place. It's capturing right around the ischial tuberosities, and it's creating a hammock. So if I just sat a punk into a natural hammock, I can just stay here. So sort it out. And then we're going to come to the wall if you have it. If you don't, you can just have a chair in front of you. But otherwise, we're going to reach up the wall, inhale, and get our chest lifted, and then sit down, sink down into chair pose, fingertips to wall, and feel this engagement, this girding of the pelvic girdle, so to speak. Inhale, reach up, maybe lift the heels. Exhale, sink down. Keep the arms long. Look toward the wall if you have it. If you're not working with the wall, you can even just fake it. So here's our quest, is we have this slight dropping of the tailbone. The outer hips are compressing, just like when we tried our original exercise where we're hugging in. So, but then the upper body wants to fly. The wall is good because it allows some lengthening of the chest. So, again, if you don't have a wall, you could just be doing a normal warrior one, or a chair might be really good. So can we take this into a strength move for both the hips and the arms? So we're going to reach up, inhale, exhale, sit down. Now step the right foot back, slide the hands down the wall, and press. Arms are about, or hands are about a little wider than shoulder. Back foot in warrior one, with the heel in. And I'm going to just keep the chest open. I can look to the floor or forward, wherever it feels good. Move the shoulder blades apart and push. So you're pushing into your arms and your back leg. Try to square the hips. And we're getting a little stretch through the back half in the whole body. So I'm building strength in the upper chest without doing a chaturanga dandasana or a low plank, which destroys many a shoulder. Step the feet together. Inhale, reach high, lift the heels. Exhale, sink down. Make sure your little strap device hugs the hips in together. Step the left foot back to your degree. Hands slide down the wall and push. Again, you can have the hands on a chair, but I really like this push into the wall because it pushes weight in my back foot. And watch the inner shoulders. Make sure they're not compressed. So move the shoulder blades apart. You're just building isometric strength, all in that back and front area of the chest. Step it together, release. Stand for a second. So this whole ring, this latitude of the chest, sure, you could go to the gym, you could do high push-up, which we'll do. Is it safe for you? I don't know. This is. You can relegate it. So let's try it again. And we'll move into a yoga pose. Inhale, reach high. We're getting our length of our chest. Exhale, we'll sink down. We get our anchor of our tailbone dropping, our hips rolling,
outer hips forward. Step the right foot back, slide the hands down, push. Getting the weight in the back heel, opening the chest. Now see if you can look toward your hands and push your upper arm bones apart. Slight bend of the elbows. Can you come up on your fingertips now? And can you bring your arms up? And as you bring your arms up to warrior one now, keep spreading and open the chest. Palms to the wall, feet together. Stand, take a breath. Basic connection strength work. Reach high up the wall, inhale. Exhale, chair pose. Right away, everything binds in hips. Step the left foot back, slide the hands down, push the wall, push the back heel. So we're still creating longitude, but we're also spreading the chest now as we look toward the hands, spreading the upper arm bones, dropping the tension out of the upper neck, traps, getting down to the roots of the arms back here. Okay? So now going up into your neck like that. Come up on your fingertips, reach high. Strong warrior one presence. Hands to wall, feet together, release. One more time, do it on your own, or advanced students, you can try a warrior three, if you like. You're gonna move a little bit away from the wall so you're not near the wall so much, about 4 feet, 3.5. Inhale, you reach high. Exhale, you sink. Hands to wall. And step your right foot back. And then lift the back foot. Right leg up. And down, feet together. Reach high, other side. So this is for the super advanced students to put their work into play. Left foot back, hands to wall. Push, push, push. Spread the chest, open. Lift the left leg. Of course, if I were showing off, which I never do, I put my hands down and hop right into a hamstring. With the same attenuation of the arms and legs. Okay? But this is this way you build that sort of strength. If Kate were here, she might do that. So let's move on and just stand for a second. Now you should feel like, well, I've kind of done some work. So let's take that strap off of the hips now. And we're going to move it up to our next area, which is the chest. And go around the barrel rim. I would say I'm at the lower shoulder blades. Okay? And about 2 inches or 1 inch below the sternum. So just standing, and as you breathe here in Tadasana, you should be able to expand the strap and then release it. Not loosen up that it falls. Now we can do the same thing, Utkatasana. Well, first, inhale, reaching up. And we billow, we try to break open that strap with our breath and then sink down. But we keep buoyancy in the chest. Step your right foot back, and now come in your warrior one. And really just lengthen the arms through the breath expansion around the strap. Exhale, hands to wall, feet together. Release. Inhale, reach high. Whether or not you have a wall. Exhale, chair pose. Left foot back, move away from the wall. And now hips are dropped. Remember the strap around the hips. And then launch the arms through the
expansion into the strap. Reach forward to wall, feet together, release. Okay? So if you have a long strap, you can take the tail of it behind you and see if you can bring it up into your, behind you, and take your hands and grab it like you're going to be the bell ringer at Notre Dame or something. And you're just going to hold this strap, hopefully I'm not out of frame, pretty high up to start. Just pull the strap to lift the chest up and place the back of the head into the strap. So now, with strong legs, feet together, firm legs, firm hips, and start to launch, manually pulling the whole rib cage, be careful, up, up, up. So it's the beginnings of the back bend. So can we have our little tail behind us here, come to the front of the mat, and inhale, come right into Utkatasana, and then release. So even doing this a few times, even if you've done yoga a number of times now, two things are happening, which were the same two we started class with. The inhale, the pelvis is descending, the breath is descending there. But at the same time, the chest, the pranavayu is lifting. Double whammy. So this is a sophisticated move, whether you feel it or not. And then standing. So we're in which you should feel the pelvis and this rib, obviously, that we have with the strap. Let's move a little bit. Try not to trip on your strap. And inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, Ardha Utkatasana with airplane arms. We're going to look down, bring the arms back like swan wings, and then slide the right foot back, reach up to warrior one. Now let's bring the arms down and see if you can grab that strap again off the back, both arms, and pull the chest up. Sink the hips down. The lifting of the chest with the strap should allow you to suspend and drop your hips. 5 good drops. Plugging the feet in, and then release. Step the feet together. Chair pose, inhale. Ardha Utkatasana, swan wing your arms behind you. Slide your left foot back. Launch your pose. So, after a time, even without the strap, you feel the sense of suspension up and down, simultaneous. But let's take that life thread, so to speak. The Greeks had that notion, and stretch our legs a little longer. The best of both worlds, the descending gravity of the lower body and the ascending upper. These feet together, forward fold for 5 to 10 breaths while I grab my water. Before we leave the enterprise of the straps, just for fun, let's take the strap back down to the hips and just shimmy it down. And I'm not even going to say anything about dimensions. So we'll go to the back of the mat and we'll take the hip hugger pants again. And we're going to take our forward fold here. So make sure it's in the cradle of the hips. Bend the knees, take it down. And now I can walk out to my downward dog. If I do it the right way, I feel the wrapping of the outer hips forward. Even if my knees are bent, and in downward dog, I'm trying to do the same thing
that I mentioned in Utkatasana, chair pose, trying to launch the upper body forward, zip the strap or in the ribs, moving the arms up, away, and the strap around the hips, descending the hips down toward the heels. Come forward to high plank and see how it feels. And then back. So here's your strength work. We already got the arms going against the wall. And then come down to hands and knees.
Move the strap to the chest, and then we'll be taking it off, so don't worry. But these are points of awareness. So hopefully you get it. And even the basic postures with this awareness, these two areas pays dividends. So take the tail end around the back again. Doreen, you can sit cross-legged if you want. And same thing, we can evoke or invoke a back bend here by just getting the hands. They can be a little bit higher, or if you're more advanced, you start to walk them down and start to lift the chest. Could lift up off of your shins and just watch the hips now, wrap them forward and together as if the belt around the hips. Really important as we start to lift the chest. So don't even think about dropping back. Who cares? I want longitude. Okay, so that opening the chest, let's see how it feels now in downward dog with this strap. Remembering the first strap and how that felt. So just come to hands and knees, curl the toes, and launch the pose. And bend the knees and feel as if we had the hips wrapped, and then we launch and expand that strap around the chest. So both directions, both strengths, and then come to high plank. And just breathe open like you're going to breathe open that strap with your breath. Extra credit, drop your heels to the right, bring your left arm up. Don't let the strap, or you can always drop the right knee down. And then come back to down dog. Exhale. Inhale, high push-up. Drop the heels to the left. Right arm up. Do it a few times if it's feeling good. And if not, just go back and forth. And then come down to hands and knees. Let's remove the strap, unless you become quite fond of it. I have a friend who's a female body worker who's on a crusade that women should not wear brassieres anymore because they bind the fascia around the shoulder girdle and the breath and essentially choke you. So apologies if I choked you, anybody, but now, once you release the prop, you might be able to breathe a little more readily. Let's stand up for a second and open our straps. And now I'm going to work on, take the strap behind the back, on just some mobilization, some lateral work with our strength that we've created. So let's take a straddle open and let's take the strap into the hands like so. And then we're just going to pivot like a windmill. And we can bend the knee of the side we're moving toward. Inhale to center and exhale. So we're opening up, as we did earlier in twist, the chest, and we're starting to come into asymmetry. So the next time you rotate toward your right foot, turn the right toes forward. Take your warrior one and then pivot back with the chest only to warrior two. Reverse your warrior, so drop the left hand down, pull up the strap on your right arm. Can you feel the connection? And then can we come to side angle? So some of you are just going to bend your right elbow a little bit and put it inside that right knee and then pull the left arm. Other people could get all the way to the ground and start to launch overhead with the strap. Pull on the strap, pull it apart to lift you up. And then release the strap down the back, keep the feet parallel. A lot of work, even just to keep pulling that strap apart in the back extensors, which for most people are super weak. So let's come up again, start to just rotate. So this is the speed skater I promised. And then we rotate to the left, turn the left toes to warrior one, open the arms, and then just rotate the torso. So again, the hips have stayed in their plane, shoulders are in their plane, and two equal latitudes, and then let's go to reverse warrior first, left arm up. And then we tilt forward to side angle. So you just take the back of the left arm inside the left knee, or you can come all the way forward, stretch, 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 stretch. And then you come up, feet to parallel release. A lot of work. So let's take the strap aside and just swing the body, pat the shoulders. Now, if you were a speed skater, which I did promise, I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I'm gonna fake it. And they kind of do this thing with their hands. At least this is what I think. If I rotate my left arm diagonally across, this whole shoulder is being protracted. Can I wait on the right foot? Just briefly lift the left foot off like that. So just start with a rotation. The hips are level, they're strong. Think chimpanzee. The right arm comes across. I plug in the hips down to the left foot, and I just hover with the right foot off the ground. Does that make sense? Now I could be just going speed skating. And even for those who can't balance, and I know that a few would be tentative, you could just go on the toes, but this should give you a balance between the rotated chest and the hips. So let's try it. Let's just go into our little knee bent tight rotation, swinging our arms, and we're working this whole pranavayu, the chest, the back extensors. So next time you rotate the left arm over to the right, you can lift the left foot, slide it back into a warrior one leg stance, still reaching with the left arm across. Now open to warrior two. Now rotate back into your twist. Left arm comes forward and around. Step the feet together. Release. Swing. Like a chimp. Feel your shoulder blades protract. Swing to the left. The right arm comes across. Weight the left foot. Lift the right toes or slide them back. Open it up to the right. Warrior two. Pivot. The same twist. Feet together. Take a breath. And just go for your little speed skate. So this could play out any number of ways. I'm giving you a basic directives, but from all the strength work we've done, you should have the freedom if you wanted to. So we rotate to the right and the left arm comes forward. We weight into the right foot to really just balance. See, I could go into any amount of balance I wanted, having set up these connections, and now warrior two. Straighten the front leg, left hand to hip, outer hip, right hand descends. Now, think of the hips. If they had a belt around them, squeeze that belt, roll the outer hips together. Set the tailbone of the heels. Now launch the prana body. Zip the strap around the chest. Ah. Expand that strap. Maybe the left arm comes up. And then you come up. And it's the hips, feet together. And then separate the feet, swing. So this skating movement I really like because it's a lateral body organizer. And as we rotate the chest to the left, right arm reaches, plug into the left foot. Again, if I'm merging the hips and the shoulder girdle, I could do any number of moves. I can come into like a half warrior 3. Plant the right foot open. Trikonasana, so straighten the front leg, right hand's outer hip, and descend. You can bend the front knee, but remember the sensation of the strap around the hips, the hip hugger pants. Squeeze them in, press the heels. Now bring the breath up into the area of the rib cage, the chest, And both areas, both those latitudes, hips, chest, are now working dynamically, and then come up, feet together. So let's take a hands and knees, because I just want to show how you can build some strength in these back extensors. In other words, how do I pull back the shoulder blade and retract it? So beginner way would just be to come to hands and knees. Take a few cat and cow movements to iron out those two areas around the hips, the shoulders, and any organic movement, little rotations, circles. I had one teacher that used to mimic like a jungle cat, roll one shoulder and the other. And once you get plugged into your back ribs, the sky's the limit. Let's take the basic move that we have when we're about to thread the needle. So left arm comes up, inhale, and then comes down. And we'll go into the move, so the left hand's gonna start to go under that right shoulder, but stop and push the back of the left wrist into the ground to create some strength. Inhale, reach up. And I keep kind of a wing rather than trying to be straight, or a highlight upper arm. And then exhale and push. I don't care about getting through, I could, but I want pressure into the outside of the left arm. Okay, let's try the other side. The right arm comes up like a highlight stick. I'm not sure highlighting is in existence anymore. And then thread the needle just halfway and push the back of that right wrist into the ground. You should feel the whole connection of that outer right arm, the shoulder blade, the root of the arm, those back ribs, and then inhale, put it into play. That retraction brings me up. Exhale, and I can find the strength here with isometric connection to the ground. So you can play with this endlessly. Some people take a weight, a little dumbbell, and do these lifts like that. Right? So let's work with the legs just a little bit, and then we'll try putting them together. So moving to another lateral pose, half moon pose on hands and knees. Go ahead and slide the right foot back. And if you're near the wall, you can put the heel into the wall now. And look down. And this is similar to what we did earlier when we were pushing into the wall with our hands. It's building strength, but it's still moderated. Upper arm bones pushing apart, core tucked in. And then knees together. Let's try the right foot. Don't take the hips, the outer hips out of symmetry. So if you take the leg way up the wall and think that you're doing well, don't. Just keep the outer hips as if the belt is still around you. And then the belt is still around the upper chest.
moving the upper arm bones apart. This is just fun to stay and build strength. If I wanted, I could push into the wall, lift my bottom knee off the ground, just do these. Rather than doing push-ups and destroying my shoulders, I'm keeping this attenuation, this dynamic circle, if you will. Now I can add a piece. The left foot goes back, heel to wall. Take a peek. Then I turn the left toes out to the left, come up on my left fingertips, and push into the wall with the heel. Maybe the right hand comes up to the hip. And you can feel the muscles engage in the lateral piece of the hip. And the arm could just go straight out or up in that high lie stick formation. Let's come down, take the right foot to the wall. Start to turn right toes out to the right and come up on your right fingertips. Right hand, if you're not wobbly, comes to right hip. Rotate the chest. So, how do the hips feel? If there were a belt there, squeezing the outer hips together. Squeeze them. Then, right arms forward and expand the imaginary strap you had around the barrel of the chest. Ah. Child's pose or downward dog. So the next time you take the downward dog, you want to feel now, how are things going with this double strap, double latitude, the hips back, is it the low rider cans were being pulled down toward the heels, that fashion, and then the mid back, launching, lifting endlessly forward the fingers with the breath. The breath expands the length of the arms. Walk or jump the feet to the hands, forward fold. Chair pose brings you up and palms to heart. One more, and then we'll call it a day. So take your strap, it's open, it's like a jump rope. Those that are wobbly, I want you to modify this. And you're going to have a chair. You can't stand on one leg readily. You're going to do this chair back bend. And all you're going to do is take your, just no mean feet anyway. You're going to take your right shin to the chair back. It's probably going to work better this way. Like that. And then you're going to take your forearms to the wall, left knee to the wall, push down, lift up. Maybe you can get your elbows a little higher, your palms together, like that. So that's the one you do if you can't balance too easily on one foot. You can switch sides. Everyone else, you can take your strap like a jump rope and take it down to the floor, hands are wide. I'm going to step my left foot through and pick up my right foot. So the right foot has the strap on the top of it. Just try to balance here. You can look down at the ground, the hips pushing down, outer hips wrapping, the chest lifting. Simple. Just try that. And step out of the strap. Right foot goes through. Pick up the strap on the top of the left foot. Create a little tension. Foot pushing down, arms lifting. Lift the chest. Push the tailbone down. That's it. Otherwise, you know where this is going. Step through left foot. Pick up the right foot. And this is the important thing. Elbows wrap in. And then I take the arms to the sky, the foot pushes back, push into the strap, your leg, and then start to push the leg away from you, the arms forward. This is the hips trying to stay square, and that barrel room around the chest trying to open.
if this is too advanced, but we're almost there, face the wall and do it. And if I do the other side, left foot, and all I'm going to do is come up and drop my elbows into the wall for support. So I'm balanced here. If you're going to fall over, just let the strap fall out of your hands. Once you're done, stand and heel. The trick in that pose with any back bend is, did you maintain that hip girdle connection? And most of us go too far with the back bends and get ourselves into low back trouble. Let's come down. We have to close things off, sadly. We'll have a towel roll handy so we can enter modified plow. But first, just lean forward, grab the feet. Lift against your bind. Maybe you need a strap. All the poses now can be connected with these principles of the hip, pelvic girdle, hip points, hip upper pants, and then the upper chest, barrel rim, expanding. If I have these two things, I can go anywhere I want. You go into a Navasana pose, and it's really the outer hips hugging, the arms emanating from that strap. I get carried away with fun things. So let's come down. You can either take Shavasana or you can take your towel roll under your hips again and hug your knees again, and maybe get your feet back to the wall by taking the towel a little further up your back. And even if your knees are bent, this opens up the low back. And you can open the arms out to the side, push into the wall. And then lift the legs away from the wall for Viparita Karate. And the towel roll is cradled in the arch of the back. Once again, restoring the integrity of the hips, pelvis, the low back, while allowing the chest to spread open, the breath to circulate, and the lymph system to get a little bit of help with the lifted legs. When you come down, bend your knees, glide them one at a time to the floor. Lift the hips and remove the towel. Slide your legs long and take a breath. Releasing any tension in your jaw, face, tongue, shoulders, hips, feet, hands. So just a quick body scan now, as we did earlier in class. Your ability to release, dissolve, and abandon, in a sense, your holding patterns in your body. And one knee and the other. Roll to one side. Come up to seated. And we'll close off. So hopefully that was helpful, and I think we've done pieces of that before. Again, this down, descending energy of the pelvic halves and the pelvic girdle. Place your hands on your hip. And then palms to the heart is an evocative pattern for the in lieu of a strap, but it also, and this is